Hello and welcome to Impact Africa, our online program where we get to have conversations with diverse people and organizations who are impacting lives positively. My name is Dr. Kemi Akiode Adebayo, also known as Mama K. And in today's program to share a story is the beautiful, reliable, helpful, I know her to be really, really very helpful, Marcelline Moukoko. She is the founder, managing director of Mawe, which is based in Douala, Cameroon. Marcelline, how are you today?
I am so fine, Mama K. Thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure. Tell us, who is Marcelline? Where are you from? I know you're based in Douala. I don't want to assume you're from Cameroon. So where are you from? How was life growing up? Yeah, just tell us about yourself.
Okay, so as you said, I'm Marcelline Moukoko. I am actually from Cameroon. I am, Cameroon is a bilingual country, so I'm from the French-based completely. But I did my studies in French, then bilingual, then in English, then I went back into French. I have a GC in science, so I worked as an engineer. First of all, I had a base in mechanical engineering, so I worked as an engineer, yes, in the oil field sector and then in the printing sector. But all along, I felt at a certain time like this wasn't really my thing. I just did that because I didn't want to become a doctor. So that's how I find. Yeah. Actually,
So
being in science.
before we go into your profession career, tell us about life growing up in Cameroon. I know you said you're from the French part. Which part specifically? Just tell us anything, your culture, your food, landscape there, so that people will just know about Cameroon.
Food. Cameroon is the best place in Africa for food. We have everything that you can ever dream about. Egusi, whatever you think about, we have it all. We're really a very diverse country of more than 200 tribes. And from my father and my mother's side, I'm from extremely different tribes. One is very in the grass field, and from my father's side is really the coastal area. So it's really a blend. And we really have people like the people from the north that are mostly Muslims. We have people like from the Anglophone sector. Part of them are from the grass field and the other are the coastal. So we have like the ocean, the falls, waterfalls, and the beaches. Like it's really very diverse. We usually call Cameroon Africa in shortscape. So we're really diverse. We have a Muslim, we have Catholic, we have Protestants, and we really just blend into each other. It's fun, yeah.
And population, roughly your population is what size, roughly?
We should be around something like 27 million right now, probably almost that. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm actually in the most populated town, Douala.
Right. So how was life growing up for you?
Well, it was very let's say like that, because I was born in another country, then I grew up with my grandmother in a very small town. And there, like, everybody knew everyone, so it was kind of very French based also. Then at a certain point I started living with my parents, and it was in a bigger town and I had much more friends. It was less hot because the town where I was before was very hot. It was very fun, less hot, but then I had to adapt because it's in primary school that I started learning English. So it was kind of a little difficult transition of a few months. Then after I went into the Anglophone sector, and then I went to boarding school in really the Anglophone part of the town. It was very different. People were much more into traditions, speaking pidgin English. It was really very different. And after I came back to Douala when I started engineering, and it was another clash because I spent like 10 years studying in English and I had to come back to French and to another educational system. So, but it was still very fun, especially when I transitioned from not having hair to relaxed hair to natural hair. So it was very,
Very like that. I like the way you keep going. It's just like this. Okay, let's talk now about your job and the transition, obviously from being a mechanical engineer to going into yoga and what you're doing with Maui. How did that come about? And tell us, when and why did you start your business? So, John, you need to hotspot both of us. So, Marceline, tell us, I know you were sharing there about the transition of your hair, relaxing, and all that. And then now your job, coming from a mechanical engineer background into what you're now doing. How was that and what brought that? And as well, when did you start Mawe and what is Mawe about?
Okay, so I started working as as a mechanical engineer in an oil field company. And the thing is that when I was in school, my dream was always like, if I start working, I have to be working in a petroleum job, you see. And I was having exams, I just fell into that opportunity. And it was actually a very long process to become a field engineer and everything. And I worked there for almost 2 years. Then the crisis in 2014 that started really crashed into 2015, and we had to like cut to the number of employees, and I fell into that spot, you see. So the dream coming true actually died down, and that's when I started looking for another opportunity, and I fell into the printing job. It was such a switch from being into an international job to being a local job. The reality was quite different, you see. It's quite normal because the international companies, they have the fund and everything to be able to train you and give you all that. And as I told you, I became an engineer because I didn't want to become a doctor, not because it was really great to become an engineer, you see. And so working in the printing world, I felt like this was not my thing. This was really not my thing, you see. And back in 2014, I had discovered yoga. But with the pregnancy and the work, I didn't have really time to focus on it. But when I saw that the printing job, I will not continue there. This was not my dream. I will not continue there. I told myself, you know what? You have to think about what you're going to do next. And that is when I started back yoga because it was always something that I really loved. So I just started back in December 2016 on YouTube, checking videos on YouTube, doing some gigs and things like that. And when my contract terminated, I was like just sharing videos. And then a friend of mine told me, but why don't you teach? And I was like, I'm not ready. And then around June 2017, there's a pregnant lady that came to me and told me, I want yoga classes. And I told her, I'm not here to teach. I'm not ready to say, you're just going to find a way, but you're going to give me yoga classes. So it actually started with a pregnant lady. She was like, oh, just come. I need my classes. I want to relax and everything. It was a very beautiful experience, you see, of giving classes to a pregnant lady. And I just continued private classes, you see, and I created my page. That time it was named Yoga with Marcelline Moukoko. That was the name before. So I just started giving some events, some private classes and everything. And every time I was saying myself, I have to go to India, I have to get my certification. Every time I was like, I'm not ready, I don't have enough money and everything. And in December 2018, I did my first vision board. And on it, I wrote June 2019, India, yoga 500 hours. And then I forgot about it. And that time I was doing other jobs. I was doing quiche, which is a salty pastry that I was selling out. And I was also being a part-time model, also translating. So I was really doing many things just to keep up, you see. And then in February, after my last modeling job, February 2019, I had an accident that left me a scar. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Is my son going to be okay looking at me like that and everything? And then in June 2019, I told myself I had an accident and I'm still alive. And thanks to yoga, I was able to face facial paralysis that I had 2 years back. So, well, it's time to go to India. And I just had a list of friends that had written the names and told them, you know what, you told me that if I ever want to go to India, I should tell you, now is the time for me to go to India. And they were like, when do you want to go? I said, August. I said, but you have nothing. I said, I know, but I'm going in August. Okay. In August, I'm gone. And it was really kind of traditional fundraising, you see.
Okay.
Not the times like, hey guys, if anyone wants to help, it's my time. I had some clients that helped me, others that told me, but you can do other things. You don't need to go for the certification and all these things. I was like, I need to go. Mind you, my passport has expired. So I did my passport, I booked for the place, I had the visa, everything in less than 2 months. And I had these things, I don't know how they call it in English, but in French they call it tontines. You know, these kind of meetings where you give money, each person gives the money to, at the end, you have your own share. And the thing is that I had to travel on the 13th of August, and the guys were telling me that my share of the money, they're going to give me 1 week later. I told them, no, I need my money on the 12th because I'm traveling. Find a way you give me my money. So that's how I collected all what I had, and I was able to travel. And I remember I had a friend, a couple, they told me, you know what, just wait for next year, we're going to pay everything. I told them, no, I'm going this year. I have to. It's now or never. And then I fell on my vision board where I remember I wrote the June 2019 500 hours. I was like, wow, this speaks levels. And that's why I went to India for 2 months to get my certification, 500 hours in Hatha and Ashtanga Yoga. And then I came back to Cameroon. And I was like, okay, this is the time. Let me find a way and make my company, you see. And I was looking for names, till I found the names somewhere around February 2020. And it was Mawe. And actually, I was like, I need a name that sounds African, that has a meaning, but at the same time, it's an acronym. I'm kind of
Easy. Okay.
That's how Mawe came. And Mawe is in Swahili means stone, and stone represents stability, you see. And Mawe is management of well-being. So it just fell all together, all apart, you see. Like in March, and I was like, oh, this is it. I'm going to make money. I'm going to make millions. People are going to come towards me and everything. And COVID came and everything just crashed down. You see, it was like, like you come with this dream and everything just shatters. And you see, at the beginning, when I started this journey, I was like, oh, I just want to be a yoga teacher. And then I told myself, well, there's much more than just being a yoga teacher. It's all about well-being, what you're going to give to people. Yes, we are going to start yoga, but I don't want the company to be named yoga or something, because it's all about giving something to people to help them have a better sense of their well-being, so that in their companies they can be productive, they can give something more, even in their families. And in what we give for the beginning, we give yoga classes to pregnant women, we give yoga classes to adults, and we give yoga classes to children. So it's really about the well-being of the family, of the person. That someone who is not well, whose family is not well, can actually not produce something in his company and be able to give you what you need for you to develop and everything. So this is where the idea all came about, you see.
So before we go on our first break, that's interesting, that journey, you know, you shared the challenges, the determination, obviously, that you had there. What have you been mostly proud of, though, out of all that? Is it the writing the vision board, or is it the trip to India, or is it, you know, the fact that you survived, you know, the accident? What have you been mostly proud of for you with Mawe?
It's hard. It's hard, but I think the accident, because without the accident, I don't think, I'm not sure I would have gone to, you see. The accident, the scar really made it all, you see. The fact that I had that accident and an uncle had the same kind of accident, like months later, and he died. Like, if I'm still alive, then it's time for me to stop taking my dreams to later. Like, oh, I don't have the means, so I don't know what to do. Let me stop being in the future, present. Let me do something, you see. Let me really do something, because at that time, if I didn't go, I would have gone, you see, because the next year, COVID, and borders closed, things weren't going the same way. I wouldn't have had that opportunity. So I really say it's hard, but it's an accident. The accident definitely changed something.
Okay.
It changed.
Wow, what a powerful journey that has been. And I really wanted to ask you more, but we'll be right back.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Marcelline Moukoko et je suis yoga certifiée Mawe. Nous sommes ici au Carré des artistes et cette séance vous est proposée par Herbert Magazine pour vous aider à gérer le stress. Car nous sommes dans ce mois dans la sensibilisation sur le cancer du sein et la santé mentale. Alors vous allez tout simplement me suivre dans ces mouvements, vous allez prendre le temps de faire tout en respirant et en détente. C'est parti.
about that thing so beautiful. She just hit my heart, oh. Full force and she got me like, I be like, baby, why you so fine? Gotta make you mine. So hard to find. Baby, like, oh, how'd you do the thing?
J'espère que vous avez apprécié ce petit moment ensemble. Vous pouvez faire cette séance en matinée, en après-midi, en soirée, sur votre thème. Retrouvez-moi ici au Galerie des Artistes du mardi au samedi pour des séances avec les enfants, avec les femmes enceintes et avec les adultes. Merci.
So, Marcelline, yeah, before we went on break, you were sharing a lot, there you're born in Cameroon, from the French-speaking side of Cameroon, and growing up, as somebody who was keen on, becoming a mechanical engineer, but changed, from being a mechanical engineer, even though, you were avoiding being a doctor, like you said, then went into yoga, you traveled to India, which happened after, an accident for you that was a game changer for you, like you said. So let me ask you, I know I probably, wasn't going to start with this, but so what for you are the 3 things in life that you value most?
The 3 things in life that I value the most?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the first person that I value the most is my son. Yeah, let me say like that. He's what makes me get up, go to work and everything, because I know I have someone who is actually dependent on me, that I have to take care of, that I have to need to be a man that will be better than me. Well, another thing that I value in life is respect. Respect. For me, respect is very much important, and communication.
Right.
Because I really think that with respect and communication, there is so much we can do. So much we can do. So those are the things I value.
Yeah, I like the fact that you said that the person as opposed to a thing and your son. So I'm sure he's so blessed to have you as a mother, who is sowing so much and keeps him, definitely going. So let me go into success, here. Would you say you are successful, or what does success mean to you, and what does leadership mean to you personally?
I would say that I am on the road to success. I'm not yet successful, but I'm on the road to success. For me, success for me is not obviously about being the richest person or being the most known person. I would say success is about being on the right track of what you want in your life. And let's say, for example, I always love analogies. For example, you want to make the bread, but if you don't have the ingredients to make the bread, if you've not started making the dough, if it's not already in the oven, well, for me, there's no success. At least it has to be in the oven. You have to have done the right things, use the right ingredients. There are so many ways of making a bread. Choose one recipe that you think works for you, depending on the ingredients you have. And from the moment it's already in the oven and it's already getting big and crusty and everything, you are not far from success. So I would say I already have some of the ingredients. I'm still working on having other ingredients. And yeah, that's where I would say I am. And let's say that by the end of the year, I'll be making the dough.
I love that analogy of the dough and the bread. Just so perfect and very real, and practical. Yeah. So what in terms of leadership would you say are some of the qualities a good leader needs to have?
A good leader has to be attentive. A good leader has to have good communication skills, interpersonal relationship skills. A good leader should have humility. And when I talk about humility, it's not the one that it tells that where they tell you that you need to be poor of spirit because riches is for this. It's more about recognizing when you're doing things right and recognizing when you're not doing things that right, and being able to be grateful to people that work with you. I think that's very important. Because humility doesn't mean that if you're successful, you should say, I'm not successful. Because people ask you to be humble. That's not being humble for me. Not at all. So yeah, I would say those and adaptability. A leader should be someone that is adaptable and who should lead by example. You can't ask people to do something that you're not able to do.
Mm-hmm.
And a leader needs to have a set of values and a set of causes that represent his life. A leader should be someone that doesn't have a dissociative personality, that you're a tyrant at work, you're an angel at home, and with your friends, you're a crazy person. It doesn't make sense. There needs to be some sort of relation in who you are. It's true we have as human beings who are a whole lot of things with different aspects of our personality. They shouldn't be dissociative. You shouldn't feel like when you see movies, they say they'll be calling your name. You first of all reply, "Hey, I'm Mama K." Then the next person that replies, says, "Don't talk to me." It shouldn't be that dissociative. There needs to be a relationship in the person whom you are. You need to have 10 people that come in a room and they should be able to say almost the exact same thing about you. I think that's very important.
Right. No, very profound. Very, very profound. So you're still very young. When I say young, because you look young, you're beautiful, and you've had so much, that you've gone through. Very matured and young. So obviously, over the years, you've gained some life skills and experience. So can you share with us some life skills, or things that you will be able to say to your younger Marcelline, that, oh, okay, don't do this, do that. Avoid this, do that. What are some of the life lessons you want to share with us that will be useful for a young person?
Yeah, as you said, I'm young and I've had many lives. I would say that because I've done a little bit of modeling, a little bit of pastry. I've been an engineer. I've been into translation. I've been in the French and English section. I've traveled and everything, although I've not traveled enough. But yeah, I would say that you need to be true to yourself. Definitely, I think that is very important. You need to be true to yourself, because when you're not true to yourself, you at a certain point you don't recognize yourself, and you don't know where you are at your life, and you can't relate to people. There's a quote that I read in a book back when I was in Form 2, that was in 2002, that I'll never forget. You owe it to the world to give the best that is in you for the betterment of mankind.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
I think that is something that is so important, because at the end of the day, when you don't give the best of yourself, you end up regretting it. You will always end up regretting it. You will feel like, I should have done this, I should have done that. Another thing I will add is that you are not obliged to follow the mass. You're not obliged to follow the greater people. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you have to go in the other direction. Choose your friends wisely. Choose your friends wisely. And choose your second family wisely.
Deep.
Keep the best part of your private life private.
You're really talking in parables now and in riddles. But they're really deep stuff.
I really feel like
I really feel like with social media, we are just all around the place, and sometimes people don't know when to. Yeah, I saw something last time on Instagram, a couple that broke up, and they were asking for forgiveness to their followers. That is sad. How can you be asking for forgiveness to people because you broke up, and those people are not even, it's not directly impacting them. They don't spend more than 2 hours, maybe 1 hour a day looking at what you're doing. So you should be grieving or going to the next part of your life, not asking for forgiveness to 100,000 followers. Not to give the same type of content. I mean, that's not normal. And I think another thing I would say, if you know there's some things in your life for which you're grateful, find a way to help other people to be grateful for things in their lives.
Okay.
I'll also add, have some causes which are close to your heart. As for me, the causes that are close to my heart are mental health and women. Anything that I have to do for me in the associative life is in between these two, mental health and women, nothing else. So I think you should find causes, because I really feel it's so amazing to be able to help other people for free. Giving back, because there is no one on this earth that would say he's really self-made, like totally self-made. There's obviously someone who gave you a hand. There's obviously someone who helped you somewhere. So you have to be able to give back in one way or another. Choose the best way in which you feel at ease. Now, talking about AWEC, I would say that with COVID and everything, there's something that we have now that we didn't have before. The real capacity to make friends in relationships online. And as African women, the capacity of really building a beautiful network of women that can work together, that can help each other, that can be there for each other. I think for me, that is one thing that AWEC taught to me. Like, this our group, the WhatsApp group, where I mean, you just ask for someone, hey, I would like to meet this person, and someone just tags the name. I need this, I need Shibata, I need this. And there's always someone who is going to be there to help you. For me, that is so amazing. I've met so many beautiful women that maybe I'll never meet on live, but with whom I have conversations, just like with you. Like, you contacting me, you see, being able to break those boundaries of telling yourself that it's not because I've never met her that I can't contact this person and ask for something and ask for a collaboration.
Right. You know what? We'll be right back. Okay. Oh, I think Marcelline, you're So, Marcelline, before we went on break, for this final segment, I love your definition of success, what leadership means to you, the qualities, that people should have as a leader, and what motivates you, the three, your son being your number one, respect, communication. And you started speaking then about a program we're both, on, which is the African Women Entrepreneurs Cooperative, AWEC for short. Shout out to all our AWEC sisters, wherever they are. And I liked what you were saying, there before we went on break. But I want to ask you directly now, what has been your most enjoyable time on this program? And what has been your least one? So yeah, and you have to really...
Yeah, I think for the least enjoyable part, I would say it wasn't enjoyable because maybe of the work you had to do, but it was actually very important. I think it was the assignments. I mean, the whole assignments. Like you
being back in school.
Yeah, like being back in school, really been like, you starting with the lives, and you go into training, and then you do the assignments, and you do the peer feedback, and then it's just like a rush. It wasn't enjoyable because like it's kind of heavy because you also have to work and everything, but it's definitely something in which you put yourself into, and it makes you question what you're doing right in your business and what you're not doing as right as it should be. So part of the assignment is quite stressful, especially the team groups. I mean, those ones, the team assignments, God, they're heavy, but definitely they are very much important, very, very much important. And I think the most enjoyable part for me, there are two parts. There was the networking, because then I was able to meet other ladies of the program, and I would say the fact that we're able to have a group and being able to connect with some people, like there are some ladies in the group that are like, they're my friends, that they are my sisters, that I have one like Iman. I mean, Iman, I will write to Iman like almost every day, like, Iman, how are you? Iman, how's your girl? Iman, what did you do today? Iman, we have to think about this. We have to network. We have to do this. Have you worked on your LinkedIn? Have you done? So it's part of the term, I've forgotten the term. Accountability partner.
Right.
Yeah, like being able to have like not just sisters, but people to whom you're kind of accountable and who care about you genuinely. Who'll be like, oh, what do you think about this? You see, like the live sessions that we had once or twice, having that thing. Or if Mama K tells us that she's having this event in Cape Town, and if someone says, okay, I'm in Angola or I'm in this country, and if there's any sister, she'd be like, oh, can we meet? And you see, that bonding for me, because at the end of the day, businesses is just a system of human beings. So if human beings can't connect, there's nothing we can build out of it.
Wow, thank you. And kudos to all the AWORK staff who have been supporting and helping, us during this journey. And I'm sure, it's going to be awesome after post AWORK, because like you said, having accountable partners, not just sisters, but people who you can, on a daily, basis connect with in terms of business and doing life together, at the end of the day, doing life together, because that's what it is. So my final question, you've been so awesome. Thank you. My final question, you've actually touched on it a little bit, in the previous segment where you mentioned the fact that for you, one of the causes you're passionate about, and you are encouraging a lot of people, in terms of life experiences, to have causes they're passionate about that they can do for free. So you mentioned mental health, and women. So I believe maybe that's, a cause for you that you believe you so much in, and I think you're an ambassador, or for one, I read about that somewhere. I've been snooping for the, an advocate and an ambassador for, mental health, issues in Cameroon, which is really, really important. So for you, I don't know whether there's any other cause you're passionate about, but not just about what that issue is, but what do you think are the solution to such a cause, whether being it Cameroon, be it in South Africa, or anywhere in Africa? What are the solutions to addressing mental health challenges? What are the solutions to some of the problems we have as women? Or maybe there's other things that, you want to touch on.
Okay, let's start with mental health. I would say that concerning mental health, I think one of the many issues we have is judgment. I think it's a big issue, especially in Africa. I mean, because we don't believe, there's still this problem of believing in mental health, believing in mental breakdown, believing that it's not only white people that can be stressed, it has nothing to do with your skin color, actually. And I think there need to be groups where people can exchange about their problem. I think that is very, very much important. And They need to be specific groups, because let me just give an example. Someone who is suffering from schizophrenia doesn't have the same issues like someone who is depressive, and someone who is suffering from schizophrenia and who is anxious. In fact, you see, there are some specifics, and sometimes everything cannot be together. There needs to be specific groups. Someone who is suffering from alcoholism has his own share of problems. So there need to be platforms where these people can actually exchange, and there need to be dedicated platforms that are actually curated to us because of our environment, the traditions, and their way of living. So it has to be very specific because, for example, let me give you an example. South Africa, due to their story, they have other type of issues that you wouldn't find in Nigeria. I think you get it more than me. You're living there. And the Egyptians wouldn't have the same issues like Cameroonians. So at a certain level, there needs to be something created that is really specific to the people. And I think also that people shouldn't be afraid to go to psychologists, psychiatrists, and care about themselves. I think especially women. Women are there for their families, for their husbands, for their friends, for the work. And then when they have to go on holidays, they just pack again their kids and go to holidays with their kids. You're not doing yourself any favor, definitely. Women need to have a time for themselves, and it has to be booked. As for me, for example, whenever the year starts, for the next 3 to 4 months, I always check where are those days where they'll be like National Day, Work Labor Day, these other public holidays. And I have to take my time there. Because if I don't do that, I'm going to break down. Last year, I worked for 35 days without a break. And then when I reached on the 35th day, I was like, oh, this is 35 days. You need a break. You can't be talking about well-being to people and you're not caring about yourself. Because as I say, if you don't have anything in you, how can you give to others? So women need to have time for themselves. That is very important. And what else can I add? I think in businesses, be it small or big, mental health has to be a part of it. Because they usually tell people you live your work at work and you live your house at house. But that's not how human beings are. We are not that separated in our brains. So there needs to be programs. I think there's one of us in EWEC that is working on that. That type of program where actually there's able to be an environment that help employees feel safe at work. Because if an employee doesn't feel safe at work, that is the mental stress. The mental stress will just go at home and add to other stress, and it will just be a very vicious circle. That's my take. And now concerning women, I mean, women, there is so much to say. There's so much. Like here in Cameroon, I am in 2 associations that work for women. There is one for tech, and there is one for the young girl. We're actually working for the young girl, especially internally displaced young girls, so that they should continue going to school. You know, if ever they are pregnant, they could be able to have activities that can help them generate some money for themselves and their children. And concerning specifically the mental health and women, I am working on creating an association whose name is AWA.
Okay.
African Women Health Awareness Association. So in that association, we'll be working on the impact, the mental and physical impact of chronic female pathologies.
Wow.
And there is so much work there. So much work there. And sometimes I'm scared that who sent me there?
You know what they say sometimes is that if you're not scared of the work you have, then it's not big enough. So it's good to still be scared, but positive scared, and I know I'm being reminded that we're running out of time. So which is why I'm going to wrap up, now and just say, Marcelline Moukoko, I salute you. I thank you. I honor you. I celebrate you. I see you, for all you're doing in the space, that you're in. Even before you came into this space, I'm sure you gave a lot of women or young girls in Cameroon hope, by being a mechanical engineer, which is a male-dominated field. And now in the space of yoga, pushing mental health, promoting women. Thank you for what you're doing. And already through our that you're doing, African Women Health Association, you're already giving solutions to some of the problem, because the problem is huge. However, you're taking your step, to change, even if it's one life that you manage to change. The ripple effect, of that is enormous. So don't be worried. Don't, just stay focused, stay grounded, what you're doing, and you'll be amazed at how, you'll get feedback that you'll be like, wow, yes, it's all been worth it. So I salute you, I celebrate you, thank you for giving us your time. And we hope we can follow you, maybe at another date. We wish your organization, your business, all the very best for the future, teaching, people yoga, starting with the pregnant women, and a lot of other things, that you're doing there. Yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Honestly, there's really been an honor. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure, and you're really amazing. So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Tell you what, we're not going to finish without me asking you, in closing, to say a few words of encouragement to anyone out there. It could be the young girls, displaced, internally displaced young girls you were talking about, or your AWEC sisters, or Cameroonian, or anyone you want to speak to. Please just give words of advice in closing.
I will say it again. You owe it to the world to give the best that is in you for the betterment of mankind. We do owe it to ourselves and to the world. In fact, you can be scared, but you shouldn't be stopped by your fears and your saboteurs. You have to go beyond them, because if we have all gifts, each of us, some have one, others have 2 or 3. Use your gifts to the best of your abilities to help others, because giving is something so amazing.
Wow, beautiful. Use your gift. Giving, it's so amazing. And yes, you owe it to yourself to give yourself out to the world. Wow. Use your gift. Yes, you're using your gift. I'm using mine. If we all use our gifts, the world will be a better place. Thank you so much. And on that note, yes, we are done. This is Impact Africa. Till next time, this is Mama K saying, stay safe, stay blessed. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.